Is this all just smoke and mirrors? The curly-haired keeper. Don't forget to hit that subscription button and notification bell. Did you do it? You promise? Awesome. Last week I had a really good suggestion over on my YouTube community page to share a video showing how I build confidence when interacting with my snakes. Now, there are already several videos out there that talk about this. I will link those videos here. But I wanted to take a different approach that focuses on our own emotional intelligence as keepers and how I've cultivated some confidence through changing the way that I think. So here are 3 of my approaches that I practice when developing confidence. Step number 1, comparison is the thief of joy. Now, this famous quote by Theodore Roosevelt is one of the truest out there. If we have grand expectations that our animals will behave in a certain way or like another keeper's pet, we're setting ourselves up for a bit of disappointment. Everyone's animals are unique, as is their relationship with each one of their animals. Not everything I do I recommend, and not everything I recommend will work for you. Meet your animals and yourself wherever you're at and set the comparisons and expectations to the side. Which brings us to step 2 in building confidence, and that is know your own comfort level. Now, this might sound obvious, but in this video, I'm going to challenge you to be extremely honest with yourself. The more acquainted you are with how you feel around your animals, the better equipped you will be to start shifting to an approach that works for you. Now, this is going to look different for everyone. As mentioned earlier, not everything I or anyone else does will work for you, and the best laid plans also change. Knowing when and how to make these changes is essential when building trust with an animal, and more importantly, building trust with yourself. Whenever I approach one of my snakes, whether it is a new addition or a snake that I've had for a while, I take the time to acknowledge how I feel in response to that animal's behavioral cues. Being honest with myself at this stage is essential, as it allows me to prepare accordingly and get any tools I might need, like a snake hook or a glove, in order to feel confident during an interaction. Now, these comfort levels fluctuate throughout time, so be honest with yourself in the moment and just know whatever you're feeling is okay. Don't try and do something just because you saw someone else do it. Practice ways that work for you and keep both you and your animal safe. On to the final step, step number 3, responding versus reacting. This one is probably the biggest learning curve that I've personally experienced because it's an uphill battle. Uphill. Just like that. Yep. Our bodies are equipped with pre-programmed reactionary functions. Our sympathetic nervous system activates within our spinal cords, triggering reflexes. Think about the last time you accidentally touched a hot burner. We don't stop and think, oh, hey, I should move my finger because this surface is hot. In that amount of time, we would have gotten a pretty significant burn. Instead, our bodies react for us, resulting in that almost instantaneously pull away from the hot surface. This same reflex activates when a snake strikes at us, or sometimes even when we think a snake might strike at us. So if you've ever found yourself in the situation where you pull your hand back quickly or flinch when a snake moves his head, that's just your body reacting for you through your sympathetic nervous system. If you find yourself already nervous when approaching an animal or when an animal approaches you, that animal will pick up on it and become nervous as well. This can snowball pretty quickly as the snake can become defensive and strike at you, in turn making you more nervous, and it just escalates the situation. And the more nervous we become, the more our sympathetic nervous system starts to take over. And the darn thing doesn't come with an off switch. So how do we change it? How do we change our body's reactive reflex to a mindful response? Well, if you've done step 2 and are mentally prepared when approaching an animal, that's half the battle. Using tools is essential here, not only for the safety of the snake, but also to provide you with the space and time you need to make mindful responses to the animal's behavior. Now, if and when your snake does strike, remember that for most of us, it doesn't mean your life is in danger. Most snake bites aren't that big of a deal, especially if we can train our reflexes to not pull back. Snake teeth are actually incredibly sharp, meant to puncture tissue, not tear it. So if I know that I'm going to get bitten and I don't have time to pull away, much less damage will actually be done if I just take the bite. If I were to pull away as the snake was biting me, I run the risk of receiving a lot more damage than if I had just taken the bite calmly. Now, all of this is way easier said than done, especially if you're new to keeping snakes. An animal biting at you is kind of par for the course when keeping animals like snakes, even if it only happens during feeding day. Now, practice makes progress here. The more that you experience a snake striking towards you, the easier it becomes to receive that behavior calmly. Now, remembering to breathe is incredibly important here as well. If you find yourself becoming nervous and taking short breaths, just know that that's normal and absolutely okay, and take a few deliberate deep breaths to help calm yourself down. Those calmer, deeper breaths will help shift that reactive sympathetic nervous system to a more mindful state. Now, this takes time and patience, and it's something that we're all continuously practicing. Give yourself some space and grace as you practice responding versus reacting. And now he's in my hat. One really important thing I would say to keep in mind as you're developing this confidence is don't get discouraged. If you're not having interactions with your animal like you see on places like social media, remember that those are only showing edited snippets. It takes time to learn an animal's behavior and how those behaviors are translated into physical human interaction. If an interaction goes poorly, resulting in a stressful situation for you and your snake, don't give up. Every handling session is a learning opportunity, and oftentimes those sessions that don't go quite according to plan are the times that we learn the most. Also remember that a snake striking at you does not mean that that animal hates you. Don't let anthropomorphic fallacy reign on your keeping parade. Get familiar with what works best for you when interacting with an animal to build up your own confidence. And that's a wrap for this week. What did you think? Was some of this information new for you? What works for you when interacting with your animals? I would love to hear all about it in the comments below. Before you head out, don't forget to hit that subscription button and notification bell. Also, a reminder that if you haven't already, go subscribe to the US ARC channel. Without their support, we would not have the privilege to keep these amazing animals. You can also become a member of US ARC for as little as $5 a month. Also, huge shout out to our Patreon members. Thank you so much for your support. If you would also like to become a member, you can check out the link below. Until next time. But I wanted to take a... What are you doing? You're being awkward. Come here, Ben. The more acquainted you are with your animals, the better equipped will you... by the use of... That's not how I wrote it. Oh. These comfort levels can... Now, comfort levels can change throughout time, so just fall on my face. Dude. Those calmer...